The chamber of the Galactic Council echoed with 1,000 alien voices, each one dripping with contempt as they discussed the fate of Earth. Lana stood at the observation deck of the human diplomatic vessel, her knuckles white as she gripped the railing. Through the transparent alloy, she watched the massive space station where humanity's future was being decided without them. "They're voting on the sanctions now," Edward said quietly, moving beside her. His reflection in the glass showed the same tension that coiled through every human aboard the ship. As Earth's military liaison, he'd seen the intelligence reports. The Council wasn't just imposing trade restrictions. They were planning to cut Earth off entirely from galactic civilization. Lana turned to face him, her eyes blazing. 80 years! We've been part of this council for 80 years, Edward. We've followed every rule, paid every tribute, and this is how they repay us? The communication panel chirped. The vote was unanimous. Earth was to be quarantined, deemed too primitive, too aggressive, too human to participate in galactic affairs. The Council had spoken, and they expected Earth to comply like every other species that had been civilized into submission. But humanity had never been good at following expectations. 3 months later, the Council received Earth's response. It wasn't a plea for reconsideration. It wasn't even a diplomatic protest. It was a simple message broadcast across every frequency in known space. We decline. The Zorvath Armada arrived first, 300 warships, each one larger than Earth's biggest city. They positioned themselves in orbit, their weapons platforms charging with enough energy to glass entire continents. Admiral Kresh, a veteran of 40 conquests, opened a channel to Earth's surface. "Surrender your weapons and accept Council authority." His translated voice boomed across every screen on the planet. "You have 6 of your hours." Edward sat in the war room deep beneath Geneva, watching the countdown timer. Around him, military commanders from every nation waited. They'd spent 3 months preparing for this moment, building, testing, and praying that humanity's gambit would work. Lana entered the room, still wearing her diplomatic uniform. She'd resigned from her position the day the sanctions were announced. Now she stood with her people, ready to face whatever came next. "All stations report ready," she said, taking her place beside Edward. "Project Rebound is active." When the 6 hours expired, Admiral Kresh gave the order. The Zorvath Armada fired. Thousands of plasma beams, kinetic missiles, and exotic energy weapons descended upon Earth in a hellstorm that should have ended human civilization in minutes. Instead, every single shot stopped. Hanging in space, exactly 20,000 kilometers above Earth's surface, was a field that the Council's scientists had declared impossible. Humans called it a quantum reflection barrier, an achievement that shouldn't have been possible for a species that had only achieved faster-than-light travel 60 years ago. But humanity had always excelled at weaponizing the impossible. The barrier didn't just stop the Armada's weapons, it reversed them. Every plasma beam, every missile, every exotic particle stream bounced back toward its source with twice the velocity. The Zorvath Armada, arrayed in perfect attack formation, became its own executioner. Admiral Kresh had time for one final thought before his flagship's own weapons tore it apart. Humans weren't primitive, they were unpredictable. The destruction of the Zorvath Armada sent shockwaves through the Council. Edward watched the emergency session unfold on the holographic display, Lana standing beside him as they witnessed something no one had expected. The Council was afraid. "They're pulling back their fleets from the outer sectors," Lana observed, reading the tactical data streaming across her tablet. "Every species with a border near human space is repositioning to defensive formations." "Good," Edward replied. "Let them be afraid. Let them remember that humanity didn't ask to be part of their council. They invited us. And when they tried to punish us for being ourselves, we showed them the cost of that mistake." But Earth wasn't done. The message that followed the Armada's destruction was broadcast from Lana herself, standing before the cameras in the same Geneva war room, with Earth proudly displayed on the screen behind her. "Members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice steady and clear. "For 80 years humanity has observed your laws, contributed to your civilization, and tried to find our place among the stars. You decided we were unworthy. You decided to cast us aside. That was your mistake." Edward watched from beside the camera as Lana continued, pride swelling in his chest. This was humanity's moment, not of aggression, but of assertion. "We didn't retaliate because we're warlike," Lana said. "We retaliated because we're free. We will not be caged, sanctioned, or diminished because we make you uncomfortable. Humanity offers the Council one chance. Rescind the sanctions, acknowledge our sovereignty, and never threaten Earth again. If you choose otherwise, remember what happened to the Zorvath Armada. That was us being defensive. She leaned forward slightly, and the entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. You really don't want to see us on the offensive. The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, Edward placed a hand on Luna's shoulder. Think they'll listen? She smiled, not with joy, but with the grim satisfaction of someone who'd finally stopped apologizing for being human. They'll listen, and if they don't, they'll learn. Either way, humanity isn't backing down. 3 weeks later, the Council repealed every sanction. Earth was granted autonomous status with full rights and protections. No Council fleet would enter human space without invitation. No Council law would supersede human sovereignty. The galaxy had learned what humanity had known all along. Humans didn't need permission to exist, and they certainly didn't need permission to fight back. Edward and Luna stood together on the observation deck once more, watching Earth rotate peacefully below. The planet that had nearly been destroyed now stood as a symbol of something the Council had forgotten. The right to self-determination wasn't granted by the powerful, it was taken by the brave. What now? Luna asked. Edward smiled. Now? Now we build. We explore, we live, and if anyone tries to stop us again, we remind them why you never corner a human. Luna finished. In the vast darkness of space, humanity had carved out its place not through submission, but through strength. The galaxy would never underestimate Earth again. And humanity. Humanity was just getting started.